Just a disclaimer, we have been paid for this review.
Yeah.
We've been totally paid off to give this an okay review.
Yeah, it was meh.
First, we probably have to say, this movie is not the end-all be-all for, like, gender and, like, feminism. Like, so much bullshit surrounding this movie. I was trying hard to avoid it because I didn't want it to just jade me before even seeing this movie. Because, like, I'll judge it based on how it is as a movie. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
The female protagonist, it's fine. And, you know, they were fine. And, like, they were probably, like, they were my favorite part of the movie, I guess, like, in some aspects.
More than the male protagonist.
Chris fucking Hemsworth was the worst part of this damn movie. He was like Slimer, and like once the show he degraded in quality, became Slimer in the real Ghostbusters. That's him. Just play the Slimer theme anytime he's around. Like,
he's just stupid.
Oh, answer the phone. It's in the fish tank.
It's
the
like, okay.
other one.
Yeah. If he was just ditzy or something, it'd be okay. But he was like, he was so stupid that it made it so there was no purpose for him to be there, because he was detrimental to their business instead of just dumb. He was actively detrimental to their business.
Yeah, he horrible hazard to have around. He was like Dave Coulier, Peter Venkman, where he's actively trying to get them killed. Like, hey, look, that's a thing. Like, I'm gonna fuck with this trap. Oh no, send us to the 50s. He was about that stupid. He was pretty much Dave Coulier, Peter, and Slimer, like, melded together. Horrible. He was so annoying. Like, and like you said, a lot of parts dragged in it, but I thought any time they were dragging on, like, him being stupid, that was the most draggy points.
Well, he'd be stupid, and then they kind of banter, and then
they keep going with it. Like, that fucking part near the end where he's got
would be like,
sandwich.
And her character was fine, except for when Chris Hemsworth was there, and she'd be like, and it's like, that dragged on. Like, if she just did it the first time she met him, but even at the end of the movie, she was like that,
still doing it.
But there was no actual relationship they had or anything, so it was not. There was no purpose behind it. It was just sort of like a weird character twitch.
Yeah, I liked her. Like, I thought Kristen Wiig was probably the best part in the movie, except when Chris Hemsworth was around, and then her character became just drooly kind of dumbass, because there's like the part where he spits coffee. Like, I'll test your coffee. And then he's like, oh yeah, I hate coffee. I'm so stupid. Sets it down. Then she goes, I'll drink it. Like,
I love your drool, Chris Hemsworth. Like,
and like, she's acting like she wants that just because she thinks he's hot. Like, okay, come on. Like, that's too much. That's so dumb. And, you know, and she's a smart character for the most part besides that.
Yeah. And the other characters are actively aware of how dumb that is, too. Because it's like, Melissa McCarthy is like, yeah, I can't watch this, and takes the coffee. Because
it's sort of funny, but is that the detriment to her character to do that? So I didn't think it was worth it. I thought Melissa McCarthy was fine for the most part, except near the beginning, where she's palling around with the other one, like, hey, look, we got this tape just sitting here with a fart. Like, why do they have that there? Like, I thought they were a little too juvenile. But then, like, after that scene, I thought she was fine.
She was okay, Yeah.
It
was alright.
Mm-hmm.
It was
goes for most of the movie. It was alright.
It was a strangely paced movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because, like, it retreaded itself. Like, it was sort of like there was a retread of the first movie, because it's sort of, most scenes sort of had an analog of the first one, but then the movie would retread itself at various points.
Like testing stuff in the alley.
Yeah, like there's two testing in the alley scenes that are completely disconnected from each other, or there's, 2 scenes where they're on TV being declared frauds. And
2 scenes where they get kicked out of a university.
Yeah, so there's a lot of odd filler, and it's...
Yeah. And like, especially
the pacing strange.
Yeah, I hated that second getting kicked out of a university. That felt so unnecessary. Because the first time they did it, it's like, all right, I mean, it was a kind of a retready scene from the first one, but it's a little different since she's a well, I mean, they were sort of teaching there too, but, a little different, whatever. But then they go, hey, look, we have this really unfunny guy who's going to go, suck it.
Yeah, and
that's his whole joke.
Literally what happened.
And that's the whole joke. I got
2 words for you.
Yeah. You guys remember DX? That's so 99. Fresh.
Yeah. Anyway,
Fuck. That guy is so annoying, and that went on forever.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. When there was jokes that fell flat, they would drag them out instead of letting them fall flat.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
there's some jokes that worked, like when they found Rowan's lair, and was it Patty said it smells like shit and regret down here, something like that. She said some kind of food, but
bologna or something.
Yeah, it smells like bologna. I thought that was a funny line.
Yeah,
I liked her for the most part too. She wasn't too obnoxious. I thought she was going to be more obnoxious based on the trailers.
Yeah.
So she was all right. Yeah, she was fine for the most part. The characters, like we were saying,
the characters weren't bad.
Yeah, the characters are actually okay, good.
But it's the movie script and pacing.
Yeah,
it could have been about 20 minutes shorter without any. It would have made the movie better. I think if it was 20 minutes shorter.
Honestly, I wish this movie had a few more rewrites. And I think it very easily could have been rewritten to be, a semi-sequel to the originals. You don't need to overload it with references from the originals, but just very easily. Because there's nothing about this movie that says they have to be in New York and, doing in the same building or anything like that. It's not even filmed in New York. It's in Australia. So it's unnecessary. It could have just been another Division Ghostbusters, and could have been the cameos in this would have meant more if they'd been the original characters.
Yeah. And that's the thing, the Janine cameo is probably the best because of that.
Yeah.
She was a receptionist and she played the same type.
Yeah. Annie Potts was my favorite. Plus, I really liked seeing live action Janine wearing the pointy glasses.
Yeah, the cat eye glasses were awesome.
That was awesome.
She looked like cartoon Janine.
Yeah.
It was great.
That was my favorite thing. Is I wish Annie Potts had been in this more.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
And honestly, if she'd been Janine too, and she could have been a mentor or something, training the new team or something, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, most of the cameos were okay, but Bill Murray's second cameo, I didn't like it so much.
I didn't care about his first one. I mean, I honestly didn't care about a lot of them because it's oh, look, the old guy's showing up as random idiots.
Yeah, but it's oh, Bill Murray's skeptic, okay. But then he shows up later on, and it seems like he might have something to do with the plot all of a sudden as a skeptic. And he's but all it ended up doing was making the Ghostbusters look incompetent.
Yeah, incompetent and callous.
Yeah,
and
it was weird.
So strange because he basically comes in oh, I don't believe in ghosts, so you have to show me the one you've caught, because they catch one at a concert before this. And he goats Kristen Wiig into doing it because she has issues with people not believing her because she saw a ghost as a kid. So she opens it. It flies out, throws Bill Murray out the window to his death, apparently.
No consequence whatsoever to the plot.
That is okay.
He's just dead, and Kristen Wiig killed him, and nobody cares. They actually get sort of fake arrested right after that, and it has nothing to do with the fact that they just basically killed him. And they're just kind of you guys kind of sweep this under the rug, okay? Yeah. It was...
Yeah, you don't see them
it was weird.
We killed someone. I allowed my pride or whatever, my issues to kill someone because I let them goat me into it. Never. Nothing about that. No. It's another one of the things that's...
Yeah, that's one of the scenes, that whole scene, I mean... I very rarely would say I would like to see less of Bill Murray in a movie. But that scene with him, it should have just been cut when Chris Hemsworth's like, oh, there's a guy here to see you. It should have just been the special agents taking them to the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And it would not have affected the plot whatsoever, and they would have come across as more competent.
Yeah, I didn't like Bill Murray's cameo really at all, like any part of it, because, I don't know, at the moment I heard they were doing cameos as other characters, I was kind of off-put by it.
Yeah.
Because it'd been meaningful if it was Venkman or something.
Yeah, and I think that's why the Janine cameo worked best.
Yeah, because it felt like it could have been Janine.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'd like to see her doing something better than that by this point if it was Janine. But, because
at that point,
just because her cameo did feel like Janine, it felt better.
And it was so far into the movie, it was like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that part. It's decent. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dan Aykroyd was a taxi driver.
Yeah.
He said, I ain't afraid no ghosts.
Yeah, oh, and the, he had something else he said.
Did he say another reference?
Yeah, I can't remember it now.
It must not have been that good.
It wasn't that great. It was just, he started talking like he sounded like vaguely like Ray for a second. The way he was talking.
He said like a level.
Yeah, it was like a level 5 vapor or whatever.
Vaporous phantasm. Or
something because they're like, oh yeah, what's like. He's like, oh, it's not a big deal. They're just level 5 vapor phantasms, and it made it seem.
Yeah, that was kind of funny,
but still, it's kind of like.
It kind of just feels like, all right, yeah, but I wish it was Ray, Even
if you had a name tag that said Ray.
I'd be like, well, Ray turned into a cabbie.
Wow,
sucks.
They really... Yeah, Ghostbusters 2 is not kind, I guess.
Yeah. After they fell apart, regained it, then they really fell apart.
Yeah.
So at least he had a bookstore.
And fell apart so bad that Venkman became a skeptic. Yeah.
This has gone so awry. I don't even believe in them anymore.
Winston opened a funeral home. It would have actually been kind of funny.
I've seen corpses that will turn you white.
Yep.
Yeah. The mayor scenes in this were annoying, and like him and his assistant.
The assistant was really grating, I found.
Yeah, both the way they both talked, I felt like
it was
like, shut up.
It was the cover-up, the government cover-up aspect was just so blatant. It was just like, okay, the cat's out of the bag, now shove it back in the bag. I think was the actual line.
It went on forever talking
and then they bantered back and forth. And it's like, you can't put a cat back in the bag. Well, you got to put it back in the bag, but it's in the bag. No, it's not in the bag. You got to put it bag, cat. I was like, okay. And
then they retreaded mass hysteria in that scene too.
Yeah.
Which was like, it's cute, I guess. Yeah.
Then there was a clogged toilet of biblical proportion.
Oh, did they say that?
Yeah, when the villain, who we didn't even mention yet, I don't think.
No.
That shows how awesome he was.
The villain was really pathetic.
He was like, I was bullied, so I'm going to make ghosts appear everywhere and act like a weirdo.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to die.
He makes ghost bombs.
Yeah.
And he's just... Well, they said this was supposed to be like, I don't know, releasing ghosts, I guess.
It was like he had a terror plot involving ghosts.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's totally kind of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking terror plot of ghosts. That just made it even worse to me.
It's true. He's like, I have ghost bombs. I'm setting them around the city. We've found 3 ghosts so far, so we better... draw an X on a paper with the ghost that we haven't seen yet, but heard about on the phone. And then, oh, look, this must be where the dude is. So, go check the guy's house or whatever, his workplace. And down the basement, he's got himself a great big containment chamber. And then he kills himself.
He feels underdeveloped, too, which is a big flaw with the whole thing.
And his actor had no charisma. No. I don't know.
Because they only use him for a few bits before he kills himself, and then he's just Chris Hemsworth hamming it up, flying around, and they're he's so handsome.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's just like, man, I should have worked out more when I was alive.
Yeah, it's like they had to remind us that he was hot constantly. Because there's one part when he's possessed by Rowan's ghost, he's flying around, and one of the mayor assistants just goes, "Oh, what's with the handsome beefcake flying there?" Like,
it's because that is what
that's all his character is.
I guess
he's a hot dummy.
But that's because apparently, I don't know. Maybe that's because that's how women are usually cast. Because that was how the original was.
Because, if you reverse the sexism, it's cool.
I don't know. Anyway,
because
I feel bad even bringing that up. It was just dumb. It was just.
No, but seriously, if you reverse the genders in that scene, people would have said that's pretty offensive to have a dumb blonde secretary because, we are way past doing something that stupid.
And I mean, people rightly would call that out, but I don't think...
Yeah, they would rightly call that out.
You wouldn't even do it. But I guess that's probably why it's supposed to be funny. But I don't know.
Maybe it was annoying.
It fell flat with me. I know some people liked his role, but to me, he was so dumb.
Too dumb. He was too dumb to live.
Yeah,
They made him that dumb that you're like, this guy could not survive in society.
I walk into walls. I feel like I'm going to fall down the stairs. I have a dog named my cat.
Oh, that was a horrible joke. And it just drug on to get to the punchlines. He's like, can I bring in my cat? And they're like, what?
I'm allergic to cats. No, you can't bring in a cat. I don't have a cat, I have a dog, but you just said it was a cat. No, his name is my cat. It's his first and last name. It's Michael Hat, the dog.
And it's like, oh, well, I can't tell you can't bring that in. It's okay, it lives with my mom anyway. What?
Yeah, it was weird. It didn't make sense. I don't know. And I guess it wasn't supposed to, but it was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, just like all of his scenes, they drug on forever, and it was just constantly the joke that this guy is stupid.
Yeah.
Dumb blonde secretary, but I guess gender equality because it was
But Janine was never a dumb blonde secretary.
No, I just mean in other things.
I know.
Janine was Janine was a good character.
She was competent. She just was kind of meh about her job sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Janine's enjoyable.
Janine.
And especially in Real Ghostbusters because they did even more with Janine, and she's my second favorite character in the Real Ghostbusters probably. I love Janine. But this was so annoying with him. I know I've said that over and over, but it's a constant problem. I could not stand him, and he's just constantly showing up. When he got possessed by Rowan, I was like, please have him die. I wanted him to die. I hate this character.
But if he died, he never would have cut his sandwich.
Oh, yeah, that's so funny. I'm eating a sandwich. We were dying, and you were eating a sandwich? Yup. Ha ha ha! I'm an asshole, but it's okay because I'm stupid.
Throw away the sandwich. Hey, help me out here, buddy. Okay, they give him back the sandwich.
Ta-da. Ta-da. That was hilarious. Someone was just there, apparently, the moment they threw his sandwich away, diving down to toss it back to him.
I do think it's funny, though, the last line of the movie before the credits was, well, that wasn't terrible. That kind of, I guess, sums up the whole movie. And I know I feel like I'm harping on it a lot, but it really wasn't terrible, but it was not memorable. It's going to be like the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, where it's people like the old ones, and then they like the new ones, and that one just sort of sits in the middle, and it's
it needed to be punched up a bit more. The story should have gone through a few more rewrites and trimmed out, like you said, probably about 20 or so minutes to really help the pacing, because that's the problem. The thing is, it has good four main leads, which are all pretty good. Just it needed to give them better comedy bits for the most part. They had some stuff, but a lot of it was kind of and then the action was pretty decent for the most part once they got to it.
It definitely sequel baited hard, which
they hear Zool on the tape after,
and they finally get the firehouse and build the containment chamber like during the credits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a lot of the stuff from the first movie that happened in the middle kind of happens in the credits.
Yeah, that's
So
also where you have Sigourney Weaver's cameo because she's like helping Holtzman to build her devices. I loved this part because like then who was it? Was it Melissa McCarthy ran down? She's like, guys, you got to see this. Then they all run to the roof. But no Sigourney Weaver.
She just disappeared.
Yeah, she's just sitting there like. I don't care what it is.
Going upstairs.
I don't want to see whatever it is. Sounds like it was exciting, but I'm staying down here because they didn't have me for that scene.
Apparently, yeah. Well, I mean, her cameo was all right, but it was just funny.
It was just funny that they act like, hey, guys, come see this. And, like, imagine someone doing that and then just one person like, I don't care what it is.
Pretty much. Funny, yeah. It just logically didn't make sense.
So, but yeah, so they did have cameos from like all the main actors, except Harold Ramis, of course.
They had him as a bust.
As a bust?
Yeah, didn't you see him?
I missed that.
Near the start of the movie, it was like in her, in Kristen Wiig's office, right outside. You could see in the hallway there was a bust of Harold Ramis's head. So that was, I noticed that. It was right at the start. You'd kind of miss it if you blinked.
Okay. Yeah.
But they did have that. So that was pretty cool.
That's something. Then,
yeah, I mean, they could have had like a CG version of him as a ghost. That might have been bad.
Yeah, probably. There's another thing too where it made them feel kind of callous and just disconnected. They find out Rowan did any of this because he bought their book.
Oh, yeah. And then they're just like, oh, wow, I'm glad somebody bought the book.
Yeah.
It's like, he just planned the apocalypse because of your book.
Because of what you guys did. And they don't really explore that at all.
No, it's more, and then it's just like, oh, I'm going to read the book. Oh, man, he wrote some scary notes in here.
Yeah, they have a few points where they could have really made this Rowan a more interesting character, and they don't, because they also can connect with him. Like, because they both were kind of
all
like
bullied, and they
they try to they talk about it a little right before he kills himself, but it's a little funny. Yeah, it was a little funny because they try to talk him out of it, and she says some dumb things like, "Oh yeah, there's a lot to live for, like soup and
I can't think of anything else. Salad, maybe."
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but again, it's kind of to the detriment of the story because it's like you should have had more of a connection there. You could have had a better villain because they underdeveloped the shit out of him.
He was very, I'm an angry guy because I was bullied, and that was his entire character, and then he's dead and decides to bring about the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
It was another thing that felt like a weird retread, because it's like they showed the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as a balloon that was like haunted, so it was a ghost Stay Puft that had a pretty significant cameo.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do the whole, choose a form scene, and he becomes the Ghostbusters logo.
Yeah, and we were both saying, I hope they don't kind of retread choose the form of the Destructor, and they totally did for no reason.
They did it almost word for word, and it was like, okay. And then it becomes the Ghostbusters logo that stomps around just like Mr. Stay Puft, except, and he's big, fat, white, and fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was
was just the Stay Puft scene, but they're like, hey, look, new technology, so we can show him blowing up more shit
Mr.
up.
Stay Puft with a different head. Except we just showed the real Mr. Stay Puft 30 seconds ago, so you're not asking for it anymore.
So that's the one you cared more about.
Yeah, it was like some of the decisions like that were odd.
Definitely.
Like it was just like
there's another thing where it's almost like everything has to be doubled. You know?
The movie retreaded itself a lot, and the major points retreaded the first movie. Also, that they could lead up to a sequel that sounds like it would be a remake of the first movie.
Yeah.
like, oh, they're finally in the firehouse, and they're hearing the name Zool.
Yeah. I did like the first time when they're setting up the team and they go to the firehouse. She's like, oh, what's the rent? Yeah, it's like $21,000 a month. It's like, go to hell.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I liked that line.
Yeah, it was funny.
And that felt realistic. It's like,
did.
Let's just rent this. This will be a lot. Go to hell.
And they're all jumping around like Ray was in the first movie, almost exactly. Like, oh, look, there's a pole, blah, 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 blah.
Gotta try this pole.
Yeah.
No. We're going above a Chinese restaurant, which is okay with us blasting music for some reason.
Yeah, well, apparently they don't get much business because they have this soup that's like this crappiest looking soup with a wonton in it.
Melissa McCarthy's character that
She's
eats
the only
there.
place. And she orders it and it takes an hour. And it was kind of funny. Like the scenes with the delivery guy were kind of funny, I thought. But it's like... Because it was sort of a running joke that the soup would only have one wonton sitting at the bottom of this, like, murky water. Mm-hmm. And at the very end, it's like, as a reward for saving the city, she gets this, like, completely full of wonton soup and complains that there's too many. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
The ratio.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not like it was a huge laugh. It was just sort of like a mildly funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It doesn't have as many lines that I would see being quotable like the original.
No, for sure. And there's like some of the things, it was like almost like we'll have the idea of the original, but it's not like, instead of like they didn't have the cross the streams, but it was like, don't shoot the top of the car. And then it's like, oh, we have to shoot the top of the car. So it's like, you know, don't do this, but do it. So it's like the idea was there and they tried to do it in a different way, but it was sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. I found it a little distracting that the effects went into the black area.
Yeah, that was weird. It was
only sometimes too.
Version.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's probably to try and make
2D.
them pop.
It probably doesn't, but it's like, yeah, it would have effects like with a ghost barf goo, then the goo would fly up.
Just like above the little
like
black bars
on
the top and bottom. And once in a while, the proton streams would go past that, but sometimes they wouldn't.
Yeah, it was sort of inconsistent.
Yeah, and that's what like threw me off. Is like, why are things going past the movie area sometimes? Just a little weird thing. Yeah. Not a big deal, but it was just kind of an odd
choice.
Yeah,
it didn't affect anything, but it was weird.
Like, oh fuck this movie! There's this weird little thing with effects.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, and it was nice to see Slimer.
Yeah,
like not Chris Hemsworth, but to see Slimer.
Yeah,
like the less annoying version of Slimer than the stupid human counterpart in this movie.
And he actually had a purpose to the plot that wasn't too overblown.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, like a minor nitpick about Slimer, though, is just I wish he sounded a little more like Frank Welker Slimer rather than that deep voice. But not a big deal. Just a nitpicky thing that would have made me like it more. Yeah, he looked fine. A lot of the ghost effects were cool, actually.
Yeah, I did like the ghost effects.
Those all looked pretty cool.
And the slime looked good.
Yeah, most of the effects were all pretty fine. I didn't think anything looked overly fake for the most part. Overall, it's got good and bad.
Well, there's the guy actually, like the usher or whatever, was relieving. He was like, "So how was it?" And I was like, "Meh." That's, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't like it didn't completely offend and destroy my childhood, but it wasn't particularly.
Well, you know what? This is better than a lot of episodes of Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters, the Dave Coulier version of that cartoon, not the good ones with Lorenzo Music. When it's a well-written show. So you've had worse things in the Ghostbusters franchise before this. Yeah. This has not fucking ruined it. All right? Fucking whining about this movie because it's got women. It's like, go back to the 50s. You don't have internet back then, so you can just go whine to yourself in your stupid fucking 50s house.
Like, the fact that honestly, the fact that they're women was inconsequential to whether it was good or not.
Yeah.
And it could have been.
It mattered
totally
whether
good.
they were decent characters or not. And for the
most
part,
right.
The characters were the best part, honestly. It's just the movie kind of let them down.
Yeah. Script, pacing, editing, that's where I would say the movie had its biggest flaws.
I would like to see, honestly, probably another movie with these characters, but written better. It could very easily be done.
And they did have a nice little nod to Lorenzo Music because she dyed her hair. And then it was orange because their hair went white at the end. And Kristen Wiig dyes her hair orange. And and they're like, oh, well, it did say it was Garfield color on the box.
Yeah.
So I figured that was probably a Lorenzo Music nod since she was sort of the Venkman analog. They weren't exactly copies
Yeah,
of. They weren't
no.
exactly. I wouldn't say female versions of male characters.
No, not
They
at
were
all.
their own characters, which was nice. But I mean, at the same time, there's 4 Ghostbusters, and they sort of were based off of, but not that much.
Not that much.
Not that much, because I was really worried that they would just be like parodies of the original, and they were their own characters, and that was nice.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Mm-hmm. So overall, hated it because women. Just kidding. It was the best. We were paid to say it was good.
Yeah, that's. Or it was nah.
Yeah.
You'll forget about it next month.
For the most part, it seems
unless
like
you think it was awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people decided whether they liked or hated this movie before they went to go see it. Honestly, by the way people were either raging or praising without fucking seeing the thing first. It's just like, I have to defend this movie. I have to hate it. It's like both of you are kind of being stupid. Wait till it actually comes out. Then there's something to talk about. And, it was better than the trailers made it look. A lot of people were saying, oh, the trailers look like shit. And I agree. The trailers were abysmal. And the song, that fucking Fall Out Boy thing, did not give me any confidence.
No. What's weird is, I think there was the original theme at the start of the movie.
Yeah, I like that started with that because they decided that was better.
Yeah, because they had the intro was nice because it's like they had this sort of creepy house and it sets up and then it shows that it's haunted and then sort of zooms in. Then you get the original Ghostbusters theme playing. It has the logo on the screen. Like, okay, that's cool. I like how they're starting this out. And then they had that horrible Fall Out Boy version. But then I think there was like 2 or 3 other different versions.
Yeah,
of the
there
theme
were a
later
few
in the
other
movie.
ones.
There's
I'm
a
like,
whole bunch.
okay, that's...
And the Fall Out Boy one was the worst.
Yeah, the Fall Out Boy is the worst.
The other versions should have, like, they could have picked one of those ones and released it as their single or whatever. And
definitely should have. Those were better.
Yeah, like, they were a lot better than other
one of them kind
covers.
of reminded me of, like, the later remix of the theme that was in real Ghostbusters a little bit.
Yeah,
It's kind of
so it's like, I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, the Fall Out Boy version was bad.
Yeah,
I mean, at least there's only about a minute of it in the
it's
movie.
actually not in it as much as I was worried
No,
about,
there was only one scene that they sort of had a little montage of them with that theme playing.
Yeah,
for like
and that's kind of like making me like, oh, I hope this part's over soon because I want to hear this.
And I guess this is nitpicky, but it was a little too origin-y, like, oh, we have to have an origin story with a graffiti artist for the logo, and we have to have like it, and
like the original movie didn't need to focus on where this came from or anything like that. But yeah, this movie had to, and
it had an origin story for this.
Yeah. Like you don't really need that. Also, they had like fucking Chris Hemsworth draw a big boob version of it for no reason.
Before this one existed.
Yeah, before this one.
It was odd. And then he kept showing logos and they were just dumb. Like, oh look, it's the 7-Eleven logo. Oh look, it's a hot dog floating above a house. Yeah, like it didn't even like it would be even if they just had the boob one, it'd be like, okay, go do something else. But they had to go through like 3 or 4 logos.
Go play with string.
Yeah, he would choke himself if he played with string.
Well, that's why I want them to make him go play with string, and then they could bust him and flush him down the fucking ecto toilet. Fucking piece of shit.
He was so dumb. I'm surprised he didn't strangle himself on the phone. The first time he answers the phone, he's like, I'm not into this conversation. He hangs up, and it's like...
Yeah. I wish at that point Kristen Wiig said, no, my fascination with this guy's dispelled. Fuck him.
Like, I don't know if making him really stupid was like them trying to combine like Rick Moranis' character in with Janine, but it was like... But even that, it was overdone. Because I'm trying to think, if there's anybody who was overly stupid acting the first one, it would be that. But it was different kind of stupid. Mm-hmm. And because he had the possessed thing going on, too. And that's the only other reason I thought of that. But it was like...
You know what would have been better, though, if instead of Bill Murray falling out the window was him, and then he's so dumb he didn't realize he was a ghost, and then they killed him again. Basically, what I'm saying is I just wanted him to die.
He could have been the one that goes through the ghost wood chipper.
Yeah! Just like, guys, I don't know. I think something bad just happened to me.
Then they could have like the pile of slime sitting there and being like, hey, think I lost my glasses, guys.
And he goes, hey guys, I think the Fall Out Boy version was the best version of the theme in this. And that's when they just flush him down the toilet.
And then
Bye.
the toilet would probably start talking in his voice. And then they
Here's
could have a
some flush.
cameo of that. Yes!
Here's some
yes! Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. Oh man,
This movie was the origin story of Fearsome Flush.
Oh man, it's great. I wanted that toy more than any of them when I was a kid.
I was so happy when I got Fearsome Flush.
I really did. I remember seeing him at like Zellers and being like, I need
He's
it
right over there.
I know. The life is complete.
You got the weird brown one from Argentina.
Yeah, because it's the poop toilet.
Anyway, yeah, Fearsome Flush.
Fearsome Flush. Chris Hemsworth right here. It would be this version, so he has a tan.
Yeah. Whoa, what's with the beefcake toilet?
Yes.
That toilet is so hot right now. Anyway, Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah.
It is okay.
It's okay.
Better than the trailers made it look.
Pretty much. If you determined that it was going to be awesome, you'll find reasons for it to be awesome. If you had determined that it was going to suck, you'll find reasons for it to suck. But it's really a movie that you have to find reasons for watching. Because to anyone else, it's just kind of like, meh.
I think if you're a Ghostbusters fan, there's some things you'll enjoy about it. But, I mean, obviously, you're probably always going to find the original better.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You're allowed to. You don't need to hate on this movie, though, just because you think it's going to somehow wipe out the original.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Exactly.
Don't be silly.